Welcome to the Tunepact podcast. I'm your host, the punk rock pop, Lee Pierce. And today we're going to be talking about networking. And we're lucky enough to have back in the studio with us, we have Hunter Jackson, aka Techno Destructo, one of the original creators of Guar. Hunter, thank you for coming back to the show. How are you today?
All right. Everything is going to be all right. How's everybody out there in podcast land?
All right. Well, this is a episode I've been waiting to do. This is my specialty. If I'm awake and talking to someone other than my wife or family, I'm networking, whether it's I'm at the grocery store, whether it's by the t-shirt I'm wearing, the sticker on my car, or who I'm talking to online. I'm building my network. I'm building connections. It's how I got you on the damn podcast to begin with. You know, we have mutual friend Vinny Castellano, a past guest from Belushi Speedball. He knew you. So, and you got to make those connections. So I've been so excited I've been wanting to do an episode about networking, and to have you, I can't think of a more perfect person. So thank you. We should probably get into this, or it's going to go for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I did a cool t-shirt design for Belushi Speedball, which was really fun. If there are anybody out there that needs somebody to do some crazy artwork for them, you know, sometimes I'm available. And that was a really fun project. He sent me all kinds of pictures of the band and all that stuff, and I did some artwork for him. And now, because of that, here I am, and I get to promote other things. So that shows you networking is important. And I think he saw me. He probably became aware of me because he saw some artwork that I did on Facebook for somebody, you know. So it's important to get that stuff out there and let people know what you're up to and that you're doing stuff. And that's why I appreciate you allowing me to be here and promote my stuff, which is House of Huntar, since I'm not doing Guar anymore. Although I'm here to promote Guar as well, because we're still friends. And that's good. So I want to promote Guar, and I want to do good things for Guar. And that's how they don't give me flack for still being Techno Destructo. So it's good to spread the good vibes, you know? And like, let's all be friends and get along. We don't all have to be mean all the time, you know?
Well, and it's more fun when you do start getting success. I hate using the word success because it means so many things to so many people, you know, but when you do start at least personal success, when you can bring somebody along with you, you know, and that's how networking is. That's the thing. Is it doesn't matter what industry, I'm not even talking music or film or entertainment at all. I mean, I'm talking in the business world. Any industry, just about everyone has someone that, well, just say successful. I hate using that word, but someone that's not quite as successful as you are, that you're good friends with, or that you consider a colleague. And you've got someone that's more successful than you, that you guys view each other as equals too. That is how you build a network, and that's how you grow in any industry, because you get to see things from point of view from someone that you were right where he is, so you can still learn from him. They can learn from you, and this person is where you want to be. Well, how the hell did they get there? Frickin' ask them. You know, like, it's especially in today's world, everyone is just, they're on your phone, man. You can get a hold of anybody. And it's so much easier now, but I mean, how do you think obviously it's way easier for networking today and making connections than it was in the past, but do you feel the importance has changed, or has it always been as important to network, just that it's done differently now?
Yeah, you got to do it. It's differently, it's a lot different, but there are things that are the same. Like one of the key things about Guar, was that with the nature of what we were doing, I knew that there was an audience out there that would really be into what we're doing, but maybe would never come into the kind of venues that we played at, the crappy punk rock clubs and stuff like that we would play in as we traveled around the country. So one of the things I tried to do to help to promote Guar was try to get us into comic conventions and science fiction conventions and horror conventions and stuff like that, And once the conventions realized that when I came, I was going to set up a big display with lots of props and costumes for people on display. And it was going to be, I would have a lot of characters walking around in costume and stuff like that too. And so that was a good way to help to promote the band. And while I'm there, I'm meeting all kinds of other people that have booths and stuff there and stuff like that. So that it's networking on multiple levels, and you get to eye contact, and you get to meet the people and hang out with them a little bit, and that's how you make a real bonding, long-lasting fan friendship with people, you know. And I can really relate to them too as well, because there's plenty of stuff that I'm all geeked out about myself, that when I meet people, you know, for instance, one time at a convention, I got to meet Dr. Smith from the original Lost in Space TV show, which was really cool. I never thought that I would ever meet that guy, you know, and to meet him and him like be that character, be Dr. Smith, and it was really a cool experience. And same thing with artists and stuff that I'm into, and all of a sudden I get to meet them. I'm like, whoa, and I'm like, I hope they don't think I'm an idiot, you know, as I'm shaking nervously, you know, shaking their hands, you know, and stuff like that. So it's fun, and
Well, yeah,
I
I
love
mean,
it.
I think everyone, all no matter how big of an artist you are, you're still a fan. I mean, everybody still loves music or movies or comics or whatever it is. So no matter who you are, there's going to be those people that you just geek out, you know, and having stuff like conventions is such a great place to get to meet some of these people and network. And your brand, I hate calling it brand, but this is a marketing podcast. So, but you know, I mean, it lends itself to that, to comic cons or horror cons or anything like that. The convention world and culture, just, I mean, it's just hand in hand. I mean, they're like comic books, action figures, movies. I mean, it's just not wrestling, you know, because like even though you're retired from the band, I hear Techno Destructo, I instantly, the next thought in my head is Guar, of course, you know, because you're good at branding. That's why I got you on here, you know. But like, I mean, the convention world and culture and all those things that I just mentioned, I mean, there's a convention for every single one of those. So you go being able to go as techno to these things is so, it's just such an incredible opportunity. Well, for you and the fans, because like I said, you've got people there that they're for comic books, they're there for the horror genre, the sci-fi of it, the music, you know, action figures, all of this different stuff. And you get to meet fans and other artists from these mediums that you ain't gonna find anywhere else all in one thing, in one place like
Yeah,
that.
and the multi being able to uh, tap into multimedia type things, like for instance, we did while I was with them, one of the things that I was the most into was we did a board game, because I'm a super big game geek, on top of all the other stuff like Warhammer and all that junk with the little miniature guys where you run around and kill each other. I love any kind of game like that. And I actually got to work on a Gwar game that did that. So we had the miniatures of all the main Gwar characters and stuff, and I got to help write the rules and everything. So while we were promoting that, when that product was out, Casey Orr was playing Beefcake at the time, and so I got in contact with as many little Game Geek stores as I could in the different cities we would go to, and Casey Orr and I would go and play the game and plug the game and meet people and sign autographs and stuff like that. So it was a big promotional thing, and by us being able to jump sort of from one genre of just being, we're not just a rock and roll band, we also make comic books, you know, we also like to make movies, and we also have a like to do board games, you know, war games and stuff like that, you know, and they're all different other kinds of, so, but it not just geeky stuff too. Like for instance, since I've split from Guar, they've been really successful at promoting themselves as all kinds of other stuff, uh, like there was a liquor, some kind of alcohol product that they were selling, and there was beer and all kinds of junk, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I think they
And
just. I think there's a new coffee too.
yeah, there's coffee,
I
and
think.
I think they're getting ready to launch a whole new action figure line, which was really funny when as I was promoting the Guar at conventions and stuff. That was the same time period. It was like in the mid '90s or so. At the same time period when Todd McFarlane Toys was really first starting to take off, and I was always trying to get them to do Guar action figures. Come on, do Guar action figures, and they would be at the convention, and we would be in costume and stuff, and they would have a guy that was actually in one of those puffy muscle suits, dressed up like Spawn. And I was always like, "Come on, man, let's have a fight. I'll fight Techno Destructo. I'll let you win, and all this stuff. It's okay. I'll go down. I won't hurt you. I promise." And uh, I would always, whenever I would see cosplayers and stuff in superhero suits, I would always ask them if they would, have a battle with me, and it would always be fun and stuff. And at that particular convention, there was a guy who made really good muscle suits, and he had done a bunch of X-Men characters. So he had I think it was, he was Wolverine himself, and then he had the Beast, who was all blue furry, and he had Rogue, who was a girl, and I'm not sure who else he had, but it was Nightcrawler, the blue guy, the
Yeah.
imp, weird elf guy. So anyway, he had those four characters, and I'd been saying, "Oh, come on, let's have a fight. Let's have a fight. We'll do a fight scene." And they were like, I don't know, I don't know. And so I was like, well, I kept asking them, but I couldn't get them to commit to it. So we had arranged for Guar, all the Guar characters, to have a big fight scene around our booth at a certain time. So at that time, Odorous was doing most of the action, which was really funny because he would be partying like crazy the night before, and I knew he was like super hungover. So I was going to be Techno Destructo, and then he was going to beat me, and somebody else was going to come in as another character, and I was going to change into Techno on the big bird thing and attack him like that. And then finally I was going to attack him as Cardinal Sin, the big giant robot character. So he's got to fight me as three different characters. And I was wailing on him hard. And then at the very end of the fight, when I'm Techno Destructo, all of a sudden the X-Men come in and join in on everything when Odorous is all winded and everything. And so he was like, he had had enough. He didn't want to have an extended fight with these people. And so he went into them for real. And he got the Beast in a headlock, and his mask got turned around 180 degrees so the eye holes were at the back of his head, and he could hardly breathe. And he had him under his arm like this, and the girl comes running up on him, and Odorous just punches her right in the face, and she goes back, and it was really something. And I'm sparring with Nightcrawler, and I'm telling him what to do, and we're having this little fight over to the side while Odorous is really duking it out. And afterwards, after it was all over and we had changed out, I went back to the lounge area where guests and stuff of the convention can go to get a drink of water and get away from the fans and stuff, right? So I went back there to get something to drink, and while I'm back there, I see the Spawn guy in the muscle suit, and I'm getting ready to go over there and tell him oh man, we just had the best fight scene, but before I can go tell him, all of a sudden the X-Men come into the lounge, and they're all disheveled and all fucked up, and they go, oh man, we just had this fight with Guar, and we're all beat up. Oh my gosh. And so that blew my chances with being able to get get Spawn to fight me after he saw how screwed up the X-Men were, you know. So, but conventions are fun. And if you ever get to see Guar at a convention, you should definitely go, because I think they still do them from time to time. And if they don't, you know, bug them about it, and maybe they will.
Well, and that whole story about the fight scene, though, it shows what you guys do, though. That I mean, that's marketing and networking too, though. You know, if you bug somebody and they're not interested in you, well, then you come back to them with a better product or a better sales pitch. You know, and that's exactly what you guys did in that case, and it's just an absolute awesome story. I'm glad I got to hear that.
The bad part about it is that ultimately Todd McFarlane, shortly after that, came out with Kiss action figures, and you know what? They were they actually changed Kiss, and some of them look more like Guar. To the point where I bet we could have probably sued him. And then later on, I found out that the reason for that was that Bill Manspeaker from Green Jello had been part of the crew that had he had been like Gene Simmons' manager at the time, and he was the one that pushed them to do the Todd McFarlane toys. And when he helped design them, and that's why he kind of guared them out a little bit, you know. So there's a little bit of trivia for you.
I never knew Bill worked with Kiss. I see. I'm learning every single time I have a guest on here. I never knew that. That's awesome.
That's networking for you. That's networking for you. Yeah, Bill Manspeaker of Green Jello. And speaking of which, and this ties in with networking too. Through Bill Manspeaker, I met Aaron Cohen, who does this band called the Radioactive Chicken Heads, which is a really sort of Guar-esque, but more for kids group. And who knows, maybe I'll be doing more stuff with them sometime in the future. But yeah, I've done a lot of cool stuff. In fact, I just recently did a sort of a slide video presentation, a live video presentation where I talk about Guar, and it's called The Secret Origins of Guar, you know. And then at the end of the show, I show a long video, and while that's happening, Techno Destructo somehow appears and starts rampaging around, which we definitely don't want him to do again here. But so you know that, and I had Aaron Cohen and some of the characters from Radioactive Chickenhead show up at the Secret Origins of Guar show and battle a little bit at the end of the show, which was kind of fun. So there you go.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna pretend to be, oh yeah, no, I know about the Radioactive Chicken Heads. I'm so embarrassed that I did not know about them till like a month ago when we started talking. Like I even messaged you, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like an idiot. How did I not know about this band? They are, if you like fun music, and I mean, I do. That's the thing. I'll have 100 songs on a playlist, and there's 95 different bands. You know, like I just want to listen to stuff that's fun. Check out Radioactive Chicken Heads, and check out the artwork that Hunter's done for them. It's really awesome.
Yeah, well, they have such fun characters. It's really fun to draw them. And I've helped them with I did a little bit of animation on some of their videos and stuff too, where they're running around riding these little chicks and stuff, these giant little chicks, and you know, different weird shit like that.
All right. So you've done all kinds of different networking since, I mean, doing the zines to build the characters back in the day, to going to conventions, to answering Facebook Messenger and ending up on a podcast. Like you've seen a lot of way it's changed over the last 40 years. Has there been a specific thing that, you know, like you set out to contact someone and you were able to, and it made a huge impact on your career or just your life in general?
Wait a minute. The thing glitched out. I didn't hear what you said. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. Has there been a time where you sought out to connect with someone, whether it was someone in this industry or another industry, and you were able to, and it had a huge impact on your life or your career?
Well, it's sort of there is a person that's sort of like that. Where one of my big influences, I was talking about underground comics and stuff, and one of the one of the underground comic artists that I was really into was Vaughn Bodie, who used to do this comic strip called Cheech Wizard in National Lampoon magazine. And he also did a lot of other stuff. And there's a movie that I'm sure everybody's seen called Wizards, that where these animated characters are fighting each other. It's sort of like a Lord of the Rings kind of a weird science fictiony movie, and that's really a well-known movie, but it's also a big ripoff of Vaughn Bodie. And anyway, Vaughn Bodie was a really important underground artist. He was really more influential on graffiti art, believe it or not, because a lot of graffiti artists would do versions of his female characters, especially. And anyway, when he died in sort of weird circumstances, when he was really young, and his son was like 10 or 12 years old. But over the years, his son took on his father's work and carried on his legacy and started to draw his characters and continued to tell the stories that his father had told him as a kid, right? So this his son's name is Mark Bodie, and I actually, through doing conventions and stuff, I got to meet Mark Bodie, and we got to interact a bunch, which was really cool. And I actually brought him. His father used to do this show called the Cartoon Concert, where he would show slides of his panels of his art, of his comics, and then he would do the narration, the funny narration of the different characters and stuff. And so uh, I actually got uh, Mark Bodie to come and warm up for Guar a couple of times and do the concert, the cartoon concert, which at first the crazy rowdy Guar fans, weren't willing to sit still for. But then once they found out that it was kind of like racy and X-rated, then they like started laughing and got into it. So, and there's networking for you, because I really wanted the Guar fans to be exposed to an artist that I had grown up with and had been really influential on me, you know. And that's how the never-ending cycle starts again, you know, which is a line from a song I've heard somewhere before.
So what roles do you think? I mean, obviously it's got a huge role with social media when it comes to networking, because I mean unless someone's big enough where they've got their own marketing team that's answering their social media messages and stuff like that, you can contact pretty much anybody. I mean, it's how I got a hold of you. I mean, just cold calling. And like, I remember back in the day trying to set up shows or putting on events and stuff, just literally calling people, emailing people that I never spoke to. I just make sure you've got something good to catch their interest. Don't be like, hey, I've got an idea. Do you want to talk about it? you know and nowadays it's so much easier. What do you think are some good tips for people that are looking at trying to do some networking and make new contacts via social media?
Well, I'll tell you, to be honest, I'm not as good as at doing that as I was at getting in touch with people through the snail mail, you know, that I used back in the 80s and 90s, you know, and I I gotta confess, I have a Facebook page, and I have please check out my houseofhuntar.com webpage and stuff, but I'm really not as good as I should be. And in fact, my webpage is, even though it's got tons of really cool stuff that you should check out, including lots of cool stuff about Guar, it's kind of dated. I haven't been able to update it in a while. But that's the funny thing too that happened with COVID. Uh, the way it affected me personally was it totally shut down. You couldn't do the wrestling biz anymore. You couldn't have live performances anymore. So that killed me. And even worse was they shut the gyms down, So, and I was thriving on working out all the time. And so during that downtime, I did the website. That's when I really got the website going and stuff like that. So, and it made a big difference because that allows me to reach out to people, put my products out there and stuff. Like some of the stuff I was plugging earlier, like, oh yeah, like this. The super awesome Let There Be Guar coffee table book. It's so awesome. It's like, look at that. It's like an inch thick, and it's got so much stuff. Let me see if I can. This is my display copy, so it's kind of beat up. But see, it's got like 100 million pictures in it, and you can get them at my website, even though they're super rare and hard to find these days. But yeah, and also my When Heroes Roam the Earth comic book, because a lot with Guar, there's a lot of even though I wrote a lot of it and I directed a lot of the videos and junk like that. When you've got 12 people involved, there's a real nebulous area as to who did what, if you know what I mean. And so this is 100% written and drawn by Hunter Jackson. So if you want to see what that's like, check out When Heroes Roam the Earth, which is a really fun comic book about an all-female superhero who likes to beat up robots, and she's fighting against the Legion of Undead Neo-Nazis. And so your intellectual enlightenment is here. So that's all I've got to say about that. So yeah, networking is important.
Well, and a big one, people forget the importance of email, especially working in the music industry, because even a lot of people, they'll have someone else, whether it's running a web page or something. Everybody's got an email they got to check. And whether it's you or it's your social media manager or what, because I'm not talking about just us, but the people we're trying to make those connections with. Get online and look for an email address. You can get a hold of just about any band or record label or management company on the freaking planet. Go to their website, go to their social media, and look for that information. You're not going to get a hold of the band directly. Sometimes you luck out and you do, but somebody's got to answer those emails. The info at whoever.com, management at whoever.com. They have a job, and it's their job to answer those. And you've got a way better chance of connecting with someone in any part of the entertainment industry that way than you do through social media. Because a lot of the times, if they are still running their own social media accounts, they're filtering through so many messages, so many comments. They're trying, and that's if they're trying. In other words, some people have someone that does that for them. So trying to reach out to anyone in the industry, find emails, man. It's almost a cheat code. I mean, try social media. If that doesn't work, don't give up. You just started, man. You just started. So, I mean, it's important to have even just set up even for yourself too. Artists need to do that because there's a lot of venue owners, management companies, record labels that they're not going to take you as serious if the only place they can find you is on Instagram or Facebook Messenger. You need a professional email, even if it's whatever your band is at gmail.com. That's still, you have a professional thing to contact people by, and it goes a long way. Because like I said, people still use email, especially businesses. The higher you get up in the entertainment industry, the more business-like it gets and the less social media. That's, and it's a fact. And I want people to utilize that more. I do it all the time because I'm trying to contact great musicians and to have as guests on my show. And email is always foolproof. At least it has been for me. As long as you're stubborn and can write some good copy to get a hold of somebody. But that's my little rant.
Get a post office box too, because if you have a post office box, your address might change. That can change from year to year. But if you have a post office box, then that can be a consistent thing where a fan from 5, 10 years ago can all of a sudden reach out to you because, oh, I found your address, and it still works. That can be a big deal.
Yeah, social media makes things easy, but it can also make people lazy. Because yeah, like just right there, I mean, go old school, post office box. I mean, emails. It's stuff that. Well, look, phone calls. I mean, I don't like it anymore. I hate making phone calls too, but people still got, especially businesses, still got hardwired lines. Man, leave a message for somebody. Social media is easy for a reason because it doesn't work as good as some of the stuff like you just mentioned, the post office box, stuff like that, especially as an artist, stuff that will always be there and not change no matter what uh how popular a certain platform is or something. You've got those gold standards that are gonna be there, and that's comforting as an older guy and a marketing guy. It's nice knowing that some of those things are always going to be important. All right. So let's start wrapping stuff up here. I got well, actually, you know what? Wait. I've got an extra question. I ask some. Usually, I do it when I'm trying to fill time, but I'm curious to your answer on this one. And I already know your answer, but I can't wait to hear it. When it comes to marketing, where does marketing stop for an artist? Is it the marketing itself? Is it on the stage or when the performance is completed, whether it's an album, an art piece, a concert, a wrestling match, or does marketing never end? To you, what do you think?
Well, it all goes hand in hand. Everything is all connected, and even as you're planning the next thing, like for instance, we were talking about one of the things that I was gonna promote on this show was a big wrestling event that I was gonna do in Las Vegas that due to things beyond my control, it sort of fell through. But that's okay because I'm thinking about how we can do it again at a future date. So whenever you're always thinking about the next step, the next thing. What am I going to do after I finish this? And sometimes it can pile up too much, and you can miss opportunities. I know that I've had opportunities where in the early days we actually we had a record we had a record label that was based in the UK, and we went over to London and stuff like that. And while I was over there, we went to Nottingham, England, which is the place where Games Workshop, that runs Warhammer and all that stuff, that game company was there. And I went, while the rest of the band was asleep on the bus, I snuck off and met with the guys that ran that company and showed them my sketchbook and told them how I was all into everything they do and all this stuff. And he actually Xeroxed some pictures out of my sketchbook, and I saw them in future things, but I didn't care because he gave me a whole stack of games and cool stuff that I probably couldn't afford any other way. So I was totally happy. But then a long time later, I read something where somebody that was involved with Games Workshop was talking about Gwar, and they go, "Oh yeah, we met with Hunter Jackson some, and he gave us some artwork and stuff, but then we never heard from him again." And I was like, "What? What?" I could have done more stuff, but I'm sure the reason that I didn't get back to him is just because I was swamped with other stuff that was going on at the time, So you've got to be careful and not let those networking opportunities slip away. Make sure you keep those business cards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, business cards. See, I'm still a firm believer in I need a hard copy business card. There's something about, maybe it's just because I'm the old guy, that was always the best way of networking. Do it today still and put your damn QR code on it. That's the new business card. It could literally be nothing but your name on one side, your QR code on the other. It doesn't need nothing else. Send it to your main page, whatever your website is. If it's your podcast, whatever it is, send it to your homepage. It's easy as hell. And there's something official and very professional business-like about someone handing me their business card, because they took the time to make it, and they're not handing out their phone saying, "Oh, here, scan my QR code." I don't know. There's something about going that extra step, at least for me, that I've always used it. And I think because the way I am and the way I come off, I think a business card helps me come off a little more professional too, because at first I could be a lot. So yes, please.
It sits around on the person's desk for a while, and they're looking at it, and now it will remind them, that or they find it in their pocket. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's right. I need to call Hunter and ask him to do that thing for me. That. It's a big deal.
Exactly, because especially I know a lot of people. I mean, the QR code. Don't get me wrong. If you don't have the time, you don't have the budget for it, a QR code on your phone works great. You just got to remember that where that person is when they're scanning that, if they're ever going to get the time to get back to look at it, or if it's going to slip their mind. And when it comes to networking and marketing, you got to have something tangible that if they do forget about it, they're going to come across it again. And that's why handbills are still so important when it comes to marketing. It's something small they're going to stick in their pocket, but they're going to find that later. Or if you're trying to hand someone a flyer on cardstock, they're not even going to take it because they can't even fold that freaking thing up and fit it in their pocket. It's the same thing with the QR code and the business card. Make sure when you're trying to make those connections, it ain't about making it today. Hand them that card. They might be handed to someone else. It might be 6 months down the road, but it can still be a lead for you. And those leads can turn into huge things. I'm a perfect example of that. I'm doing what I'm doing because of networking. I spent 30 years promoting bands, never made a dime off any of it. I've always been my friends' biggest fans. Mainly because I've never had the talent to do it myself. So damn it, I want to make sure my friends get they get the recognition they deserve. So I've been out there doing this for 30 years, and it's just, you make those connections, and it will change everything for you. And it's not just about trying to build a career from making connections. It's about getting your art out there, getting what you're excited about, what you're good at, getting that out there, because people just might not know, and we're in a world now that you almost have to put the blame on yourself. If you're not doing it, you're not trying hard enough. I mean, the success part of it or whatever, of course, is going to be based on actual talent. But I mean, if you're not putting in the effort, you're not going to get anywhere, whether that's the marketing itself or the networking, because you got to network to make those connections, or the marketing's not going to get you anywhere either. So there's another rant. Sorry. Like I said, this is my specialty. I know too much about this. But so what's one last little thing you've got for new artists that, I'm talking these teenage kids that are just getting into this, and they don't get, they see all these bands have been doing it for years, and they don't know how to get there. And a lot of it is, it's not I don't want to say that it's not what it's who but it really is. Those connections can make or break a band, because it all depends on what area, where do you live. A kid in Podunk, wherever, doesn't have the same chance as someone living in a bigger city where there's a bigger music scene, So what advice do you got for those young kids that are getting into any part of the entertainment industry when it comes to making connections and networking?
Do what you can to promote yourself. Make stickers, make cards, make flyers, make T-shirts. Make stuff that people can take home. That maybe they can buy for a little bit, and for not much money, and that they can give to other people. Things that they can show to other people when they're talking about whatever it is you do. So make stuff. That's my main thing, I guess.
Yeah. Well, remember too is I mean, in any, especially in music, you support your friends, you support your friends' bands, and make sure you're doing the same for them. Wearing their shirts, getting their merch out there, and working that, doing that collaboration and cross promotion. That's such an important part. And without that, those initial contacts and the networking, you don't get to do those collabs, and where you get a whole new market, and you're take some of the work off yourself because you got two bands promoting the same thing. That people don't realize that's a big part of networking, is being able to do that. You find people that can help you, that you can help them. Split the work, man. I mean, yeah, it's fun, but it doesn't need to be exhausting. All right. Well, Hunter, thanks for, man, I've been eating up so much of your time. You got two, came back a second time. I appreciate it. I definitely need to have you back a third time, because I think we could just talk for hours. That's what my wife feels like when I start talking. It's the exact same look. So, what do you, I was like, will you remember from the last
Thanks
time?
for
I always
letting
like
me.
to, I always
Thanks
like
for
to
letting
see
me be here.
what you guys got
Appreciate
coming
it.
on.
What's that?
I always like, what do you got coming up? I always want to give my guests a chance to promote what they've got coming up. You remember from last time, so what you got for us?
Well, I'm still kind of doing wrestling shows every once in a while. I'm working on a Gwar compilation book that's going to be like a huge volume of all the Gwar comics and posters and t-shirt designs and all that kind of stuff, all in one huge volume. Storyboards for videos, uh, including projects that never got finished and stuff like that. So that's one thing I'm working on. And but one of the big deals that I'm working on is a actual board game about roller derby called Roller Brawl, which is going to be really fun. And it's a game about, it's a roller derby game where the players are racing around the track with a ball, trying to kill each other and stuff like that. It's really fun, fast paced, and it has really cool miniatures. Matt McGuire, who is another Gwar veteran, is also involved in this project, and it's going to be really fun. So that's one of the other things I'm working on right now. So there you go.
I'm excited about that. I'm a total board game nerd. I collect vintage board games, and like our family every night's board games and card games. So that sounds awesome. I can't wait for that to come out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
All right. I suppose I should give your friend Techno an opportunity to promote anything he's got coming up too. Hey, this is on you. All right, here we
No
go.
telling what he'll say.
You brought him. I didn't.
That's right, it's me, Techno Destructo, telling you to check out houseofhunter.com.